All right, y'all. So in this video, I plan on breaking down what the jury has decided on, what they're not haven't decided on, what they're hung up on, so y'all can understand why the jury would be hung up, what charges they're probably gonna rule a certain way on, and which charges they're not. All right. So he's actually, because I've been covering this, he's actually facing 5 charges. I've been saying 3 because I lumped together the sexual assault of uh, of Cassie by coercion and whatever, and of Jane Doe. I lumped them together as one, and then I also lumped together the 2 Mann Act charges related to Cassie and Jane Doe. As far as that is concerned, I lumped the 2 together, and that involves the flying out of prostitutes. Okay, the flying out of prostitutes. I don't know, across state lines. That's all you have to do is just move them across state lines. But let's start with charge 1. So count 1 is the racketeering. Okay, and I've been saying this for a long time, and I'm going to reemphasize this. I do not think the persecution has done a good enough job to get him on racketeering. I don't think so. And I think even if a jury did do this, I think upon appeal, he'd be able to get the racketeering off his jacket. I just don't think so. They haven't proved a criminal enterprise. It on here it says acts involving kidnapping. I don't think he kidnapped anybody. Acts involving arson, uh, which is the Kid Cudi thing, but it's not 100% certain that he did it. However, he was in the driveway standing menacingly. I think he did it, but thinking does not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he is indeed the person. So therefore, I don't think they went that way on that one. Maybe somebody did, and maybe that's where their disagreement on. Because I could see where somebody goes takes Kid Cudi at his word, because it seemed very straightforward. The defense didn't even really like cross back that hard on it. So I think even Diddy probably whispered to them, "I did that shit." But either way it goes. Hold on, let me pause for a second. All right. So anyway, to continue, acts involving bribery. He definitely did bribery. So that's one. That's one of them, right? That's one of them. He did do bribery for sure. He bribed the hotel to conceal him beating up Cassie. That's for sure. It happened. The hotel staff admitted it. He admitted it. It's a done deal. He did that. Now, acts involving witness tampering. Now, here's where this could get interesting, right? Because I believe they want to say he's not guilty, but he was calling people that end up on the witness stand to get them like on the same page, or getting certain people to not testify, or trying to get the story straight and all that. Although you can say maybe in good faith, because he was on a lot of drugs and he's a bit older, he was doing that to get his mind right. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't quite remember everything, because he was doing heavy drugs and alcohol. Like, maybe he doesn't remember. And then acts involving forced labor. So that means he made somebody work. Now here's the kicker with count 1. It says if and only if you find the defendant guilty of count 1, which types of racketeering do you unanimously find were involved in the uh, offense? So I believe the issue here is, and why the jury's messed up, is the jury wants to find him guilty, but they can't unanimously agree on any of these. That is the only reason this is coming on to it, because you don't need a unanimous for not guilty. Like when you read the sheet, that's not what it says. It says, "Do you find the defendant guilty of count 1?" And it says, "If and only if you find the defendant guilty of count 1, what do you think he did in count 1?" And I think there's the problem. They can't unanimously agree that he did one of the second things. And I believe it's going to be a hung jury, because they can't get the other person to agree, or other people to agree. Like it sounds like it's more than one. But anyway, there's that. Now, we're going to move on to other pieces of it, right? Acts involving sex trafficking. If you think he sex trafficked Cassie or Jane Doe, then he did it. Period. Dot. He did that. He did that. He did that. So that's another thing, right? Now, I don't know if everybody's unanimous on that. Because again, it's like force or coercion and all that, right? But again, if you think he did count two, right? And then he's guilty of that. He's guilty of that in the RICO, which is very interesting. Acts involving transportation for the purposes of prostitution. Again, if you find him guilty of the Mann Act, he's done one of these for racketeering. And I think there's people there that are reasonable people that are like, man, I don't feel like he deserves life in prison though. Like, yeah, you're a freak, but I don't think he deserves life in prison. Like, I'm personally of the mindset that, and I have to kind of put the cart before the horse here. The Mann Act for both of them, I think he's guilty, and that's 10 years, and that can run concurrent. And I think like that's pretty much the bulk of it. Although I will say on count two, as far as Cassie is concerned, I think he sex trafficked her because again, he did beat her up and he did threaten her on the plane, and the jury did ask for, okay, the jury asked for the transcript of the airplane testimony, where he said, if you don't have this freak off, I'm gonna leak your video to the masses, which is sick. Which is a sick thing to do with somebody's boyfriend. He's an alleged boyfriend. Okay. So with that being said, man, I like this new setup. I like how tight it is. Like my background is boom right there. Anyway, then the next thing you have is acts involving drug distribution. They did ask for clarifications the first day on drug distribution, and you don't necessarily have to be selling it to be distributing drugs. You have to just be handing them out. You have to be like facilitating the usage of. That's what drug distribution is. It's facilitating the usage of. And I believe he did that because he got the drugs. He gave them to the prostitutes. He gave them to Cassie. He took them himself. Rinse and repeat. All right. So anyway, and then he gave them to Jane Doe as well. Then if and only if you find the defendant guilty of count one, did the pattern of racketeering involving include sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura? That is a yes or no. Then you have if and only if you find the defendant guilty of count one, did the pattern of racketeering activity include sex trafficking of Jane Doe? Which I believe we've determined Jane Doe is 50 Cent's baby mama, because even 50 Cent was like, yo, that's my baby mom's. Which I don't understand. She's getting plenty of money and she's not ugly, bro. She's not ugly. This and I think for everybody's sake here, I'm gonna try and I'm gonna pull her up here. I believe I have the image in my phone. Yeah, there we go. I mean on the computer. I'm gonna pull her up for just a second so you guys can see her. So boom. That's her. That's who she is. She's fine. She's fine. Why are you freaking off? Just go be a high-end escort. Or just get you a rich dude and just, I don't know, like occasionally suck some dick or something. Like fuck him every now and then. Get you a medium ugly dude that has money. You'll be alright. He didn't gotta be a baller, but like you could easily bag a millionaire. You know, got some M's. You ain't gonna get another billionaire, but you can get another millionaire. Who cares? Who cares? If you don't want to have kids again, go get them tubes tied and tell him he can go crazy. Shoot up the club. Like I don't know. But this is allegedly who Jane Doe is. Now, back to the main event. Cassie Ventura. Everybody knows who Cassie is. I ain't showing no picture of her. Everybody know who Diddy is. I ain't showing no picture of him either. Just to answer the question, I ain't doing it. On count two, sex trafficking, Cassie Ventura. How do you find the defendant? Either guilty or not guilty. I believe this is guilt. This is my. If I'm a betting man, I'd put my money on they found him guilty of count two. Count three, main act transportation, which is literally facilitating for the sake of prostitution, moving a prostitute across state lines. That's it. That's all. Okay? That's it. That's all. Like, for instance, like, you can get hit with a Mann Act violation in Kansas City easily. You want to know why? Because there's Kansas City, Kansas, and then there's Kansas City, Missouri. They're literally right next to each other. You could literally cross the state line. Boom, Mann Act. Mann Act. Now your ass in jail. Felony. You're a felon. You're a felon. I'm just saying it's super easy in that city. Texarkana as well. I'm trying to think of other cities that are like multi-state cities. Like those cities, like, hey, be careful, because you're cooked. You're cooked. Okay. I you know what's funny? Like, and this is just a random question I had when it came to the sex trafficking stuff and the man at prostitution. If he flew them to Vegas, right, where prostitution is legal, would he go to jail? Because it's technically legal. Is that a Mann Act violation if you took him to somewhere where flew him to somewhere where it's legal? Is it? Is it? Is it just like paying for the Uber to go to work? Is it the same? Is it the same? Because it's legal. It's legal. It's like you consume illegal substances, but the particular illegal substance, i.e., marijuana, is like legal in like a couple states. Like, are you really guilty, or are you just trying to use your stuff at home? Like, it's kind of, those are weird legal gray areas that I wish could just be like done. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the last one because I don't want to take too much more of your time. All right, count four. Sex trafficking of Jane. How do you find the defendant? Not guilty. Not guilty. That was a grown woman. Okay, she was 36 years old. Already had a child. Already was getting child support from 50 Cent. And for $10K a month, got her back just absolutely destroyed for like 4 days by 3 different men and Diddy. Okay? All on, like, drugged out, all of that. She was getting like TP. She was getting TP and DP and all sorts of other stuff, like, to the extreme. She got absolutely violated, okay? Violated. And while she was sore and recovering, he flew out Young Miami to Turks and Caicos and was having a blast. Like, he didn't just destroy this, have this woman get her womb destroyed and rearranged for his viewing pleasure. You're an adult. You're grown. He wasn't even beating on you, none of that. He just was like, hey, you want to do this? You want to be my new Cassie? I hear you need money. I hear you like money. But anyway, there's that. Count five. All right, final count. How do you find a defendant? Not guilty. Oh no, no. Not guilty and guilty. Guilty. He's guilty of this. So he's gonna, I believe, count five, count three, and count two. He's definitely guilty. Count one, the way the jury, like, now that I'm looking at the jury for him and I kind of like understand, and I also like, because there's the guy with TMZ, he was also talking about this too, and I'm like, when I go back to this and I really look at it, right? Because if I give him, well, I gotta use the top of this second form. If I give him the transportation of prostitutes, that's one, right? Because you need two of them, right? You need two of these for him to be guilty. And I know he witness tampered, and I know he bribed the hotel, right? And I'm not gonna give him the arson because that's hearsay basically. Like he didn't really file a police report and name him, so that's hearsay. Then you have the kidnapping, no. Then you have the bribery is a yes. The witness tampering is a yes. The forced labor is questionable. I don't think so. And then you have the sex trafficking, which is a yes for Cassie, which is a yes for Cassie. And you have the transportation of prostitutes, and then you have the drugs for the drug dealer. I think so. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5. He's guilty. It's just they have to agree unanimously, and I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem. They're trying to get it lined up. Yeah, they're trying to get it lined up. But anyway, I'll close with my finishing thoughts. I believe Diddy is going to go to jail. At minimum, because the sex trafficking of force and coercion, count two carries the weight of a minimum 15. I believe he's going to get credit for time served, but have to do the 15 because it's the minimum. He's a first time offender. It's just that's the minimum. However, he's never done any other crime, so there's like other thing mitigating factors that could like chop it down some. But then at the same time, due to the heinous nature of the crime and the fact that they found all these like firearms and stuff in his crib, whether they're legally owned or not, like it could upgrade. It just depends. It just depends. Well, if they're legally owned, it wouldn't upgrade. I'm sorry. I'm gonna clear that up. It wouldn't. Um, so he probably get like maybe 13, 12, maybe 10, right? And let's say the judge gives him 10 on the forced labor. I mean, on count 2, which is the sex trafficking. It can run concurrent with counts, unless by statute or by law, there's a rule saying they can't run concurrent and they must run consecutive. Then he's looking at 10 years. Period. I do not I do not for 1 second, like, even though I listed all those things about the racketeering, I don't think this is racketeering. I really don't. In my heart of hearts, I don't. I don't. I do not. Even though I can make a valid argument for it, in my heart, I don't see it. Because again, yeah, he was heinous. He's a bad dude. But life, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's fate. Maybe it's destiny. Maybe it's God. Maybe it's karma. Maybe it's all of the above. Okay, catching up with him, and that's why he's gonna get hit with the RICO too. But I know for sure, at minimum, if the judge is nice and wants to go against the federal sentencing guidelines, he could get just 10. He could just get 10 and run straight down 10, and I'm okay with that. That sounds like a satisfactory outcome. And then with federal, you have to serve at least 85% of your sentence, which means he'll be out in about 8 years. He's gonna look stupid old though, because he's not gonna have access to all the things and amenities that he used to have access to. Now, however, I do want to say this. If he gets that RICO, he gone. He gone. He gone. And he gonna have to beat it off in appeal. Pause. Pause. He gonna have to beat it on appeal. Okay. Pause. Still. He's gonna have to overcome it through appeal. Aha. Aha. But anyway, yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thinking in the comment section down below. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for being, if you're a subscriber here, thank you so much for being subbed. If you're not subbed, why are you not subbed to me? Sub. Okay, I know when we started, the sound didn't sound the same. And that's because I forgot to hook my mic up, but it's okay. Sub. I got everything you need. I cover everything. You'll never be too far behind, okay? I have a habit of like stacking up videos and then I just drop a bunch of content because that's just how I roll. But anyway, peace. Y'all have a good one.